We have an absolute surprise for you today. We are blessed to be able to have Mrs. Tina Janti in the house today. She is a vice president of sales partner out of Iowa, and she came down to Phoenix. I think she came down to get away from the cold, honestly. But they came down to not only pour into us and teach us, but to learn about what we've got going on. And so that's why this is such a beautiful business, is because it's about not knowing everything and not feeling like you have to be the person. But this is a copycat business. This is exactly why we do this call every Tuesday, so you can put yourself in a position to learn from those that have come before you, copy exactly what they did, and not make the same mistakes that they did, because you don't have to. They've already made them, and they can teach you how not to do that again. So without taking up any more of her time, we're going to bring in Mrs. Tina Janti to join us. Thank you, Tina.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure to be able to have you here. And so why don't you tell us, and everybody out there, we're in Iowa. I was told that some of the team out there is on the call this morning as well. So I know they know you a little bit better and they know your story. But for everybody in the Beanie Camp agency that may not know you as well, sure, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story prior to AIL and how you ended up as a vice president of sales partner?
So just a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. My whole family is still there to this day, from parents to grandparents to aunts, uncles, cousins. So Vegas is my home. I went to college, got my degree in interior design and architecture, and graduated college, and was really, really fortunate to essentially almost land my dream job right out of college. I was utilizing my degree. I was doing something I was passionate about. I was good at it. And I thought I had my whole life figured out. And in 2008, the economy crashed, and Vegas was unfortunately one of the cities that got hit the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got laid off. I got laid off in 2008, and I tried interviewing and getting, other positions at different design firms, and I just did not get the job. And ultimately, everyone stopped building in Vegas, so everyone stopped designing. And so I was laid off for 2 years, and just trying to make ends meet, just doing, freelance work, and just trying to, went back to retail for a little bit, getting paid practically minimum wage, but found American Income in 2010, and the rest is history,
as they say, right? So you go from studying design, landing the dream job, to going back to minimum wage. What were you kind of thinking at that point of your life?
Before I found the company?
Yeah, before AIL.
I've always been I am a very positive person, and I knew that ultimately it was going to be okay. But at the time, I had my career. I graduated college. I had student loans, and I couldn't find a job. And our job I actually really, really enjoyed, and so I was a little lost. I was a little upset. I didn't really know what was next for me, and so I think we all might have hit that part. That I always ask my people, how did you feel the day before you got hired on with American Income? Because it's one of those things where I never felt those feelings again once I found our company.
Absolutely. And I can relate to that, because after I was cut from the NFL, that was everything that I worked for.
Yeah.
And it was, now what?
Right.
Now what? Right. So absolutely. I can understand that. So now 2010 comes, you find American Income. What were your goals when you first started with AIL? Did you ever imagine that you would be a partner in this industry?
No.
Yeah.
No. I never, I mean, it would have, when I first started with the company, I didn't know exactly what a partner was. I don't even think I knew there was a partnership when I first started. I thought it was just, a regular insurance company, and, there's management positions, and yes, you could have your own office and your own territory, but to climb this promotional track that we have, I never really thought I'd reach the very top, which is the partnership. I grew up, I grew up pretty it was hard. We didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot in our family. My parents are immigrants from Thailand, and they did the best that they could to provide for us. But you know, we essentially lived paycheck to paycheck, and it wasn't that I didn't think big. I just didn't know how to think big.
Okay.
And so one of my first goals, honestly, when I first joined the company, was to have financial freedom. I never, ever, ever wanted to worry about bills again, because I grew up seeing my parents worried about bills, and then I got into college and I was worried about bills, and I just did not like that feeling of not having financial stability. So I just wanted to make enough money to never worry about bills again. But I made money quick here. You know, there's a lot of money to be made in our industry and with our company. And then from there, it was like, oh wow, I can do a lot with this company. So my second objective was to have my own office. I really wanted my own office. I wanted my own territory. I wanted to be, you know, that person to impact other people and grow with this company, along with, you know, having growth within my own company, if you will. You know, I always say we are in business for ourselves, but we're not by ourselves. And to me, I never thought I'd become partner, because that opportunity doesn't happen to people like me. Without having your own company, without having your own business, you know, it's almost impossible to think, oh, I could be CEO of this random company. But it just shows you that, you know, the opportunity is there, and as long as you know, keep on doing the right things and trusting in the process and working hard, you know, being partner is so obtainable. But no, when I first started with the company, I never thought I'd even be considered to be partner. There's so many great people in our company. So it's definitely a dream come true, and it's definitely an honor for sure.
Well, you know, you said something, I think, you know, for people like you, and of course, I've only got to know you a little bit the last couple of days, but you know, it's one of those things that people like you, though, you do deserve it because you work for it. You didn't give up. You're persistent. You continue to fight, and you know, that's where I think a lot of people don't understand that. Yes, it is possible. Just you can't quit. You have to continue to move on and continue to move. And so it sounds like your goals continue to evolve. Because when you first came in, it wasn't about territories and office. It was, I want to make money. Made money, and they're like, well, now I need to think bigger than money. So now what? And so, but now here you are as a partner. So that's inspiring, to say the least. So
thank you.
What inspired you to go for top 10? Because you are a multiple Gold Club winner. So for all of the newest agents out there, you know, you write over 50,000 in a month. So you've done that multiple times. You've got accolades that we could spend the whole rest of the call going over. But what inspired you to go for top 10, and can anyone achieve that?
Yes, anyone can achieve it. I wanted to go for top 10 because it was something that I never thought I would do with our company, if I could be completely honest. I was promoted to MGA within 90 days, and then I became RGA 4 months later. And so I was only a good producer because I wanted to lead by example. And I wanted to not just tell my people what to do, but show them how to do it. And so being a top 10 producer was never my objective. If anything, I wanted to be one of the top MGAs. I wanted to be one of the top RGAs. But in 2016, I had a life change. I got engaged, I got married, and then we got pregnant with our first and only son. And I think there was just something inside of me that said, you know what, this is the right time to do this. I was, you know, 6 years in the business, and I wanted to inspire a lot of people to show them that they can go for top 10, especially so late in the game, in the year, because I started going for top 10 September 1st of 2016.
So ultimately, the last 4 months of the year, you went top 10.
Was when I decided on a whim to go for top 10. But I wanted to inspire other women in the business. I really did. I saw a lot, you know, every year I'd go to convention, and top 10 it was just always guys and just a couple women. And I wanted to be one of those women to show other women, you know, I was pregnant when I went for top 10, so that they can do it. You guys are, you know, you're growing your families. You might even be pregnant yourself. And that doesn't mean that you need to take a step back. That doesn't mean you can't you know, you have to put your dreams and your goals on hold. If anything, it's the best time to go for
Correct.
something huge, because you can inspire so many people.
Correct.
And I just wanted to show people you can really do anything you put your mind to.
And I overheard a story. You were 9 months pregnant and you wrote how much?
The story's changed quite a bit. But I want to say I was maybe 6 or 7.
6 or 7?
Yeah, and it was about 93,000 of production.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you were 6 or 7 months pregnant and you
Yep.
wrote 93,000 in production.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so for all the guys out there, that takes away all of our excuses. But for all of the ladies out there, I mean, obviously, I hope that inspires you like it does us, because can we agree that life happens
Yeah,
to everybody,
absolutely.
right? And so to kind of put all of those excuses away, 93,000, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So the next question we have for you, Tina, is developing leaders is an important part of our business. How do you hold your up and coming leaders accountable?
You know, when you have a management contract, and your responsibility is to develop others, you know, number one, what doesn't get planned doesn't get done. So I really help my leaders and help my people plan their week. I help them plan their months. I do that by you know, giving out calendars at the beginning of every month, and I sit down with them to go through their plans, their objectives, their goals, and set proper expectations.
Okay.
You know, I do ask them, you know, hey Paul, do I have your permission to hold you accountable
Absolutely.
to your goals and
Yeah.
your dreams? You know, and your people will always say yes, because that's what they want. You know, and just always having a finger on the pulse in my agency.
Yeah.
You know, I do that by constant one-on-ones. I do nightly coaching calls. You know, I've got people that have worked with me for over 6 years, and you know, he still calls me every single night. We still do a coaching call every single night, just constantly developing them on not just a monthly basis or a weekly basis, but you know, a daily basis.
Absolutely.
So, and just inspection.
Yeah. So the inspection of activity, the inspection of maybe their script, things of that nature as well.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
And so you're very much hands-on in that accountability. It's not necessarily about punishment or anything like that. It's more so of just helping them understand what they need to do to develop into creating habits.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Well, and so the next question we have here are, what are some of the most important things that your mentors have done to develop you?
I actually made a list for this, because I am, you know, my journey with American Income has just been incredible. I've moved 8 times for the opportunity, and I've been in the company for 9 years.
Okay.
And every time I've moved, I was influenced by someone different. And I've learned so much. I truly believe I am the person I am today, and all the knowledge that I have today is because of all the people I've worked literally side by side in the same office with. So you know, they've all taught me so much. My very first MGA was Patrick Stangline. Started in Vegas, and at the time he ran Vegas. You know, he really taught me that this business is the sizzle and the steak. He taught me, you know, drive a nice car, look really nice, have a nice home. Your people need to want to be you and want to become you. You know, he taught me leadership by example. He taught me how to show gratefulness for my mentors. He taught me leadership development. You know, he was my very first MGA, my very first mentor. And one thing he always said to me is always be developing somebody. He said, even if you're at the office and you have to run an errand, you got to go to Costco, you got to go get gas, you got to pick up supplies, whatever it may be, he said, never do anything alone. Always take someone with you. That's what Patrick taught me, and it really laid the foundation for leadership for me. And then I moved to Boise, Idaho, 7 months in the business, and I had the pleasure of working with Rick Mansfield, who essentially did Ilya's, our CEO. He did Ilya Orlovic's first interview. And he became an SGA for 10 years. So I learned alongside of an SGA, and I was there for 3 years. He taught me the 6 key areas of the business. He taught me the foundation of the business. He taught me in management and leadership to set proper expectations, hold people accountable, and inspect.
Okay.
I essentially learned that in, for 3 years.
Yeah.
I had then from there moved to Portland, Oregon, and Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
And Josh Olin was
one of the
was
top
there.
leaders, absolutely.
So I was never technically coded to Josh, but he cared for me and taught me as if I was one of his own.
Yeah.
Josh is, one of the most successful RGAs in the company,
Absolutely.
and Josh taught me how to be a really good RGA. I mean, even now he's got probably 15 MGAs,
Yeah.
multiple
agents, yeah.
offices, and I saw him work day in, day out. He was the first one in the office. He was the last one to leave, and he didn't have to do all that. I mean, he essentially made it. He's very successful.
Yeah.
But he had leadership trainings in his office, so it wasn't just agent trainings or script training, and it wasn't just sales based, but he's such a great leader that he truly developed other leaders, and I got to see that, and obviously I've learned how to properly be an MGA and RGA from Josh.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Redmond. My journey's crazy.
Yeah.
I've moved now I'm in Redmond, and I was in Redmond for 3 years, and Nick Lawrence and I essentially co-ran that office.
Top leader, yeah.
Again, I was never coded to Nick, but we worked alongside, side by side. Nick, if you guys don't know him, he's dynamic. He's got a strong presence. He's got great culture. Everyone wants to hang out with Nick. Everyone wants to be Nick, and he's just infectious. And I honestly learned that how to be that leader. Again, going back to what Patrick, taught me and Nick, because Nick he started working with Patrick.
Okay.
And I think just becoming the person that your people want to be. So that was Nick, and then moved to San Jose and worked with the great Mark Nielsen. This was a lot of fun. So a lot of people don't know this, but the same person that hired Mark Nielsen was the same person that hired me. And Mark and I were actually we were very, very good friends before we started working together. In fact, that's how we started working together. Was we were just such good friends, and we kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
And the partners were totally supportive of it. So I moved to San Jose to work with Mark, and Mark is great at so many different things. He's a power producer. He's become just such a great leader. But one thing that I learned from Mark, many things, but Mark is really great at simplifying the business. I think the business, it's not easy, but it's simple. And a lot of times we tend to complicate the business, and Mark is really good at simplifying it, but he's also really good at motivating his people to actually go after their goals and actually get good results.
Correct.
He's really good at, and obviously, the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
And so, I learned that from Mark. And then I guess going to the partners, because I've moved so many times, I've had different directors as well. And, I started working with Dustin, as really just a friend in the business, but someone I really gravitated towards too, Dustin Vinnicamp. He is truly the epitome of gratefulness and people first. And even to this day, he's constantly teaching me how to be a good coach and how to coach my team and to drive results that way. So, I'm so grateful for that. Rob Hay was actually my first director. He's our chief marketing officer, and he is very mechanical. So I learned how to be mechanical in the business and how to be very systems oriented.
Okay.
And so I learned that from Rob. Brett was my director. Brett McCannell was my director in Oregon and in Washington. And if you guys don't know Brett that well, you'll get to know him, but he is such an outside of the box thinker. He taught me how to be innovative in the business and creative when it came to agency development. And then James taught me a lot about the money part of the business. taught me great culture as well. James, you know, anyone that works directly with James, he really cares about his people and he protects his people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think a lot of those qualities that I have, I learned from James as well. And then, you know, I've obviously had the pleasure of working with Ilya, our CEO, and Ilya's really smart. He's our CEO for a reason. And you know, I'm still learning leadership development, but Ilya promoted 24 MGAs in 22 months.
Correct.
And that's just incredible. And obviously,
Unheard
you know,
of.
that's why he's our CEO,
Correct.
among other reasons, right? But that's what I learned from Ilya, is just leadership development, promote MGAs, give people opportunity. And then, you know, last but not least, I've started working with Rick Altig himself starting in August of 2011. And it was a pivotal part of my journey. I met with him in his wine cellar at his house, and we met for about 3 hours. And I was less than a year in the business. And, you know, he's a big thinker. He simplifies the business. He's our chairman. He really believes in his people. And, you know, he's taught me platinum rule, just doing more for others than they can ever do for you. And when you exhibit that and you live that way in our business, your people will do that as well.
Correct.
And so you just have this great culture of platinum rule. So it's a long list.
Of course. Well, but that's the beautiful
my journey.
position that you're in as a partner now, to see the influence that everyone has had on you, to now be able to see that part coming out into your culture and into your people. And that's one of the, I think, probably the most the most impactful parts of legacy is what the impact that you can have on people and what you can leave with people. And so it is evident, because we've gotten to meet your team and see your team of how you're impacting them in all of those ways that you listed from what your mentors did. And lastly, Tina, I know we could talk all day, but you know, hindsight's 2020. And that's what they always say. It's easy to look at it that way. But knowing what you know now, how would you have approached your leadership development if you could do it again?
Well, if I knew back then what I knew now, I mean, I definitely would have grown a lot quicker and helped my people grow a lot quicker. I have to say that right now in the business, with where we're at as a company, there's no better place to be than with American Income right now. Our systems are stronger than ever. Our processes are stronger than ever. Our technology allows us to be effective and efficient in what we do. You know, I would have, had I known about it, I would have done career meetings right from the start. I didn't do that in 2010. You know, I would have met with my people and did their go over their 10-year dreams and teach them how to think big and dream big. You know, I would have taken them out in the field while they're in the pipeline and show them, hey, it's possible to make $1,000 in a day. Because that's what we're doing now. So we're doing career meetings. We're taking people out pretty much right away to show them sales, to have them meet our customers and show them that, you know, it's very obtainable to make money here, and just how simple it is. And just, you know, giving the people more opportunity to grow and reach their fullest potential. I feel like what we're doing right now as a company is really the best systems in the last 9 years that I've ever seen.
And did you have paper apps when you started? Okay.
For sure.
And you probably didn't have a rate book, and you probably didn't have the app to where it could shoot you GPS through the app and all that stuff. So and that's what's so powerful about our business and where it is you know, as you guys have heard her go over the last almost decade of growth for yourself. Now, you can't microwave that maturity, but what you can take away from what Tina's story is you have all of these systems and processes in place already. So the newest person, although you were an RGA in 7 months, which is amazing, MGA in 90 days, RGA in 7 months. So that is fast. And obviously we've seen people come in and duplicate that success. But with the systems and the processes and the leaders that we have in place, like yourself and all of the people that you listed, the type of business success, I think, probably could happen quicker, right? Because the road has been paved. I mean, look at our own David Carpenter and Cherie and Mikey and all of these people, right? But the experiences, that takes time, right? That takes the maturity, that takes moving multiple times in multiple territories and working with different people.
Sure.
But what's beautiful is that because people like yourself paved the way, someone, whether they're brand new in the business or maybe they want to flip the switch after a year or two, whatever the case may be, they can come in and they can learn from someone like yourself and your experiences and take this to a whole new level. And so, you know, we want to say thank you very much for your time, because obviously you came out here to learn, and you've been irrationally generous with your time. And so we appreciate that. And I know I can speak for everybody and Mr. Camp himself with that. I just want to wrap up the call with a couple of notes that I took. Her goals have evolved, and you come into the business at one stage, one place in your life. And as you continue to have success, those goals continue to evolve. She was pregnant and decided to go for top 10 in September. I think that is just unbelievable. Just to not January 1, like, hey, let's start the new year off with a resolution or whatever.
I almost wish I wouldn't have been as
correct. Well, but when your back's against the wall, you got to fight, right? And so sure enough, 4 months she did top 10. What doesn't get planned doesn't get done. I think that's very valuable in a leadership development, you know, personally, professionally, whatever the case may be, whether it be you as the new SA or the new individual or for your organization. What doesn't get planned doesn't get done. Always take someone with you. I think, you know, I always heard that with the field, right? Never go out onto the field alone, but you took it to a whole nother level. When I'm going to Costco, I'm going to grab someone. When I'm going to grab gas, I'm going to grab someone, because not only do you get to develop that relationship and build that rapport, but who knows what they'll pick up in that time. But we're going to end with this, because ultimately I think this is what the leadership call is about, is become the person you want your people want to be. And you mentioned, Patrick, you know, kind of instilling that in you from the very beginning, but becoming the person that your people want to be. It's so powerful in many different ways, because it gives them, I think, the freedom to actually go do it. Because so often in corporate America, or maybe our upbringing, we were taught that we can't do certain things, or we have to be a certain way, or whatever the case is. But Tina Janti hires me, and I come in and she's living this way. She is this way. She embodies this. That kind of liberates me to give me the opportunity to be who I always wanted to be. And I think that's who we are as called to be as leaders. Become the person that you want to be. Be intentional in the steps every single day of your development in your business, and whatever you don't plan doesn't get done. So again, thank you, Tina.
Thank you for having me.
Go out and crush Tuesday. I know there's a lot of families that you guys have to help out there. So we hope you guys learned something today. We look forward to hearing from you. Send us your feedback, your text messages. We'll hopefully get you in contact with Tina. And if you're in Des Moines, correct?
Yes.
If you're in Des Moines out there, don't go in the winter because it's cold, but go out there and look her and her team up. We look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Take care.
Thank you.